So you guys know that France is very likely the future of the United States, right? I'm not saying that the United States is going to go down like similar political paths, similar like economic paths. I think that's very unlikely. But there are some very real parallels between the United States of today and the France of about 400 years ago. Um, France was never a world-spanning power. It sort of tried and failed. It lost out to the British in the 1700s. But in the 1600s, in the 1500s, when it wasn't wrapped in a massive civil war, France was dominant in Europe. It was the European power that everybody had to reckon with, tremendously influential, tremendously powerful. I think you can talk about Louis the 14th and Versailles as kind of like superpower-ish, like the United States in its period of hyperpower. It fought a lot of wars and lost a lot of wars, because it sort of bumped into sort of the very beginnings of nationalism. But since then, since losing out to the British in the 1750s and then losing again to sort of everybody in 1815 after sort of a last gasp of trying to conquer the world, France has not been the main power, has not even been the main power in Europe. But, and I think this is going to be very true of the United States, it was big. Nobody was gonna conquer it. Nobody was gonna absorb it. It was big enough that it could continue to do what it wanted to do. It could continue to follow the political and economic pathways that it laid out for itself. France famously kind of avoided or ignored the whole Washington consensus. 40 years of Reaganism. It, of course, was not completely invulnerable to neoliberalism or what have you, but managed to sort of do what it wanted, go on its own path. And I think that the United States, if it truly is, and I don't believe it is, for another couple decades or perhaps the century if we get our act together, when the United States eventually loses its seat of power in charge of everybody, I think France provides a lot of lessons for how things might go. Some things we could learn from, some things we could not do. But it's a really interesting model of how people don't adapt to no longer being number one. Look, it's the moon. It's the moon.